heart beats. My heart beats, but hey, you know what? It beats for a reason. This is the time I get real and honest. I've been sharing a lot. Well, it's time for me to synthesize some of it. Just as much for myself as it is for anyone who watches. We both deserve it. Here's something I'll share with you. As an artist, I made a vow. I did when I was in high school, I remember. I said, you have power with these hands. And I remember I go, girl, you've got to make it pleasant for your viewer. Because I can make some artwork. Like, this is pretty artwork, I think. I can make some artwork that is gnarly. Because it's an expression of my emotions. So I said, anyway, it's just a vow I made in high school. And there's so much to theorize and analyze, and I'm not going to get into that now. But as an artist, you make a vow. You say, am I going to do dark or light? Sometimes you dabble with the dark to get back to the light. Yeah, sometimes my favorite art is unintentional art, like this cup that's like basically gonzo. But I so love sustainability. Okay, so that's another thing as an artist. You choose your platform. You have your voice, you have your tenacity. Like, what is it that drives me? For me, it's equal rights. For me, it's equality for all. It's unity. It's divinity. It's for all. And it's STEM since I was a small child. It's sometimes not an easy path because I happen to live in a pretty greedy society. It is what it is. And to deny it would be silly. And can I just say, okay, really quick, one thing that I just am going to be blunt about it, because I received a divine revelation. Okay? Laugh if you will, I don't care. I've had people make fun of me before. They go, that's called schizophrenia. I go, you call communing with your creator schizophrenia? That's fine. Go on and call it whatever you want. I call it connecting with my creator. So, anyway, I just want to say I received direct revelation from God that explained to me something. And it was a flaw that I used to have horribly. And I went to God with it when I was younger because it was something that I saw in me that I didn't like. And I did not like how it made me feel. I didn't like how it made others feel. And so I went to God as a small child and I said, God, sorry, I hate when it gets wobbly. I'm careful at this table. I said, God, can you please grant me the ability to not care what other people think? Well, just, God, grant me the ability to just stay in my lane and serve you in my kingdom. And let's just keep it clean. Like, really. And good. And, like, let's keep it, like, comfortable and, like, safe. And, like, because I had to escape from a lot of ugly things happening in my reality. There was a lot of ugliness surrounding me, right? In my youth. And, I would just, anyway, I would resort to artwork a lot. Anyway, so my revelation was recently God confirmed to me that was something that doesn't matter, but I received a revelation to share my story so that I could maybe help another person who struggles with, like, feeling like they have to control the moves of everybody. Like, maybe it's a mom and you feel like your children aren't amounting to what you thought they should be. You are a vessel for your child to exist. You don't own that child. And so you trying to mold them and shape them into the version of you that you never were, that you never amounted to, and the way you wanted to be, that's wrong. When you learn to just love yourself and have self-worth, you no longer do that kind of harm to your children, by the way. Your children were given to you as a gift from a creator that is beyond you, and it is highly offensive for you to feel like you can beat them and say nasty things to them and treat them ugly, as their parent, you were meant to do nothing but love them and support them. If you asked for a child in your life, God expects you to treat that child as you would expect to be treated by your parent. Now, that right there is a segue into why I went to therapy. Because I go, I love my parents. There's a lot that I think done wonderful things for me. But never do I want my child to feel the way that my parents have made me feel. Unwanted, horrible, ugly, pathetic, dumb, stupid, all these awful things. My son knows that he is brilliant. I tell him every time I see him how obsessed I am, how smart he is. I highlight all of his strengths. And that is what God wants each parent to do with their children, by the way. Don't you expect that from your parent? Fortunately, there's an illness in my family of child abuse. It stems from a generational lineage that I don't entirely understand. God is helping me work through it, and it's something that I beg to cycle break, and with the help and the grace and the glory of God, I'm doing it for my family. But it's not easy, and when people think that I'm being a bitch and I'm being so difficult and I'm offending, and I have to claw and fight my way out of generational abuse and trauma and do what I need to do to heal so that I don't affect other people. And part of that is just facing the reality. And if it's offensive to you, well, you know what? That's between you and your family. I say, God, help me heal, please. Help me heal. And you know what? With child abuse, sometimes it's a matter of you have to acknowledge it and you have to heal from it. Doesn't mean that there's not a tomorrow and you can't do better. In fact, it means you can have better relationships. When you're willing to face adversity and when you're willing to face confrontation, you allow yourself the opportunity for growth. It's the opportunity to heal and learn a lesson so that you can progress and not do that shit no more. You get what I'm saying? That's why I'm obsessed with Eminem. Really, the rapper Eminem. I'm obsessed with Eminem, and the reason why is because it showed me that I was sinning in my pride. Eminem is one of the most talented rappers, and I completely dismissed him when he first came out because I thought I was better or something. I thought he was less than he was rapping. Because it was a bias against racism, and I had to learn the roots of it, and I figured out where a lot of these things come from, and I heal. I recognize where I feel uncomfortable, and I go, why does that make me feel uncomfortable? What is this feeling? Is it that I'm being mistreated? Is it that I'm doing something wrong? Why am I feeling this way? Sometimes it's literally ejecting yourself from the situation to dissect why you're feeling that way. Without making assumptions, without jumping to conclusion, without taking everything personally, taking into account all those four agreements. Well, sometimes you have to really recognize that it could start with you, and all you have to do is start being kind. Do you love the person that you're sitting next to? Then why would you ever want to hurt their feelings? Why? I come from a family where the harder the dig, the meaner the jab, the more people would applaud you. That is not God's way, by the way. Just a reminder to my family, if we really want to be godlike people, we have to start within ourselves. You have to start loving yourself first. Once you start loving yourself better, you can love others. But wow, to hurt another person means literally that you are hurting. Why are you hurting? Why? It's time that we face our problems. My family has to wake up. We are not on a good trajectory as a family. A family is supposed to be unified. And I'm talking extended family too. We're supposed to be unified. And my grandmothers speak to me. They do. They connect with me and they educate me on ways that I can improve myself so that I can be more humble and I can be closer to God and I can feel the spirit of where I'm from and where I'm headed. It might not look like everyone else's plan, but just please believe I'm on my path and I'm doing the best I can to stay as pure and as honest and safe and clean and healthy is the key. And I wish the same for everyone else, but we have a lot of self-healing to do in this world. And I mean this colloquially, like all my brothers and sisters, the whole world, every nation, every friend, every foe, especially your foe. I love it. I've been to events where they say, there's a band, I can't remember who it is, but at the end of the event they'll say, come next time, make sure to bring your enemy. And they're like, no, really, like, bring your enemy to the show. And I'm like, it is the most brilliant thing ever. Because it's like the most healing. This party was like a musical party where everyone there was just like completely healed. Yeah, bring your enemy. Bring the person who triggers you the most. Take them to your place of healing. Are they unwelcome there? Well, then are you in a good place of healing? If you can't bring the people you care most about into your place of healing, is that where you want to be? Would you consider that God, the God of creation, the God of all, unifier, who excludes other people? I don't go to places like that personally. I think that's not God's way. Anyway, I love everyone. And I remember there was a time, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But it's one thing about self-love, by the way. I take this as someone who learned it from my mother. She'll always say, and in times that she should care, and that she is as worthy as anyone else, but she has no self-worth. She'll say, I just don't care. I just don't care. I just don't care. I look at her and I say, Mom, you do care. She goes, no, I just don't care. I just don't care. I'm like, well, one, you keep talking about it. Your energy is very downtrodden. Like, obviously you care. Telling yourself you don't care over and over and over is not going to fix the problem. If you're not honest, if you're not congruent with your words and your actions, your body's going to be ill. Well, guess what? My mom has been ill my entire life. Really, she has. And so much of that stems from her religious beliefs because they are congruent with her actions. You tell me you go to church and you celebrate God and you are all loving and love one another, yet you tell people they can't enter the house of God. That is like horrifically offensive. And anyway. Anyway, one final comment. Dear journal, dear self, you figured it out and it was awesome. You were at the grocery store. Please remember this because you love the grocery store. Thank you, Wanda. Okay, I was at the grocery store and I was like just meandering, looking around as I do. And I'm like, I figured it out. I go, it's not about whether or not the church is true. I used to get hung up when I was going through my faith crisis. I would go, oh, well, is the church true or not? Is it true or not? Is it true or not? Everything was about, is it true or not? Because there was this quote, probably said something like, it's like Gordon Hinckley or someone said something like, hey, if all this is true, if it's not all true, then it's false. Like it was an all or nothing statement. It was a logical fallacy type statement. And I remember going, oh man, I follow the prophet, yeah, I follow Gordon Hinckley. And when he said that, I go, oh shit, that makes me wonder now. I go, well then it can't be true. But I was so hung up on this concept of true, not true, true, not true, true, not true. Well, you know what? It doesn't matter whether or not the church is true. The church could be as true, and it doesn't. Does that mean that you're supposed to stay in a religion that's hateful? And like, can't we evolve and do better as people? Maybe that was God's plan all along, was that you were supposed to be on this planet and you were tested and you were part of this religion and this church that was so wow. And how did you react to it? Did you just pretend like everything was fine when you knew that it wasn't? You know what I started to do? I started to pay attention to my body. I have struggled with eating disorders since I was a small kid, starving myself. Periods of time where I wouldn't eat. Periods of time where I was one large mama. I had a friend approach me one time. She goes, what do you know? You're not fat. I go, honey, I used to be very fat. I hid myself from the world when I was fat. I didn't have the confidence to speak up because I was physically sick because I was mentally run down in a relationship full of deceit. Anyway, when my body is out of sync, I stop and I go, hold up. Is it what I'm eating? Is it what I'm telling myself? Is it the diet I'm consuming? What is going on? I got through my divorce. The weight, when I decided to love myself, the weight just, and next thing I knew, I was running 2, 3, 4, 5 miles. Because I started to have self-respect. Thank you, God. It's not. That was harder. But you know what? Your body keeps score, man. If you're constantly sick, you're supposed to slow down and listen to it. I know this because I myself have had to go through it, and I continue to go through it. We were given this body for a reason. We were given this brain for a reason. And we were given the tools to connect our spiritual. We all have a spiritual side. And I just want to say one last final comment. This is classic me, by the way. This is always me, too. I was thinking earlier. My thing is always like finding the party after the party. I love the after party. When people, I'll be like hanging out with a girl at a table, and people will be at a party, and like people will leave, and then suddenly there's like 4 of us, and we're like this, and then suddenly someone gets the guitar, someone gets the flute, and suddenly we're like, this is the party, and then the night begins. Anyway, I realized that about myself. I'm kind of one of those people, and I love that about myself. But what I was going to say too, though, my final after party thought. I can remember it. Damn it. Oh yeah, I know what I was going to say. It is never appropriate for anybody, not for you, not for him, not for her, not for her, him, she, they, them, who, they, whatever. Nobody is entitled to judge another being. You have no freaking clue what their journey is or what their path is. The best thing you can do for any sentient being, plant, animal, human, be a supporter on their journey. Support them. All you have to do is show them, support them. And if they're attacking you and being mean to you, then it might be time to eject yourself. Because you don't have to be a punching bag for abusive behavior. Okay? So it's hard. But anyway, be a support. It starts with yourself. My son Henry is the most emotionally mature individual I've ever met. I'm serious. The last 2 times I've seen him, I'm just like, damn. Damn, am I impressed with my son. But you know what? It's because he has this emotional maturity and this assurance. And I love it because he's like steadfast. And he has had to go through a lot, and he handles it with so much grace and poise. Obsessed with him. Okay, but here's the thing. He taught me. Watching him taught me. He just treats everyone with respect. He does. Henry will treat you. When Henry was a little child, he would go up to homeless people and give them money on the street. I have pictures of him. Be like, Mom, why can't you just come live with us? Anyway, that's more for me as a reminder. Where you find tears is where you find your God, too. I try to look out for all support, love, kindness. If you're being mean, ask yourself why. Does it feel good to be mean? Feel good. Just say something that just. My family, unfortunately, is in a rut. I'm praying for generational guidance to get us out of it. Heal us, please, from these sins, because it's not working. For any. And I look back and I used to just be on the phone with people and they would just talk trash about other people. I can't. If that happened to me today, I couldn't do it. I would just be like, bye, peace out, I am not doing this. This is so unhealthy. It's so unhealthy. There are better ways to glorify God and His creation. Get a paintbrush in your hand. Pull out the sewing machine. I don't know. Get out the songbook. Pull out the piano. Get out the ukulele. Make something. Be like good. And don't lie. Anyway. So, I send love to all.